Welcome to a new episode of Vyapar, a show where we explore the journeys of entrepreneurs and the businesses that they've built. With me this week is Aditi Dahiya, who co-founded the company called Nutty Kitchen along with her brother Siddhant. And Nutty Kitchen is a company which makes nut-based milk. All right. So when I first spoke to Aditi, I really like the vibe that she has. She's very down to earth and just very chill to talk to. And I felt so natural talking to her. And apart from the business, she also creates amazing content on fashion, on makeup, and tons of other stuff. Like she is doing amazing stuff online and on Instagram. Check it out. And she also helps brands to grow their business, and she also has a page where she posts illustrations, art illustrations, and they are absolutely amazing. And if you are an entrepreneur and if you're just starting out, this is what you can learn from Aditi. You just need to put your head down and keep creating stuff. So Aditi, welcome to the show. And my first question to you is, how did the idea of starting a nut based milk company pop in your mind? Like, it's a road less traveled, isn't it?
Hi, Sada. Thank you for having me. Okay, so for the Nutty Kitchen, the idea originated about a year back, and my mom and my brother were actually responsible for the idea. And so we are now doing this as a family unit, actually. And it came about because my brother was going through a couple of digestion problems, and we were just trying to figure out what works, what doesn't work. Going to doctors wasn't proving very successful, and so we were doing online research and we were reading up about things, and we thought that it was probably because of lactose intolerance. And that's when we started looking for alternatives to dairy. And he was a very big dairy consumer. At that point, we cut out dairy. We started producing nut milks at home because we couldn't find stuff in the market that was not adulterated and that was providing enough nutritional value to replace a dairy product.
Yeah.
So we started doing that at home. We started making nut milks at home. We started with almonds, and when we produced the first batch, it turned out to be really delicious, and we knew it was healthy because the quantity of nuts that we were using was much higher than you'd find in any commercial nut milk brand. And we did this for a couple of months, and that's when we thought that if this is turning out to be such a useful product for somebody with lactose intolerance, it could probably have potential benefit for a much larger group of people than just producing it at home. And that's when we start testing out the recipes with our friends and with our family, and we got pretty great reviews with the taste. Because as for the nutritional value of this, there's not a lot of information available online, so people are not aware of it. But as far as the taste goes, we got a really good response. And that's when we decided that we'll start with something around vegan beverages or plant-based beverages in the market. And nobody else was doing it at that point. Nobody else was doing it fresh. So you have packaged nut milks, but they're all like Tetra packs or bottles that last for a good a month and a half kind of a thing. So that's how the idea came about with it.
Yeah, because honestly, I've heard of nut milks before, but I've never tried them on. And
okay.
The problem that I always had was, because the preservatives that is there, and also it's not, strictly speaking, it's not reasonable. Like the companies that are selling nut based milk, they are charging a lot, and the nutritional value, I'm not sure if it's there or not. So that's one of the reasons why. And I think people in India still, they've not accepted this idea of nut based milk, because I think the average consumer actually consumes milk on a daily basis. But yeah, I mean, the potential is great, isn't it? And
okay, so the thing is that the target market, if I talk from a strictly business perspective now, the target market for nut-based milks will never be the average Indian consumer because of the category of the product, right? So you can expand it to a point where there's a certain section of the average Indian consumer that comes to know about it and wants to try it and wants to experiment. But the dairy market in India is extremely huge, like you said. So it's not a means of replacing dairy as such. The target market for this is, again, people who already, one, are aware of health benefits of switching to, let's say, a plant-based diet. Second, people who are looking for healthy alternatives to dairy, and people who want to do this as a health practice and not just, for the taste. And the third is people who are vegan. And right now, that is a very small portion of the Indian economy. But the Indian population is so huge that even if it is, let's say, even if 1% of the Indian population is vegan, that is a huge chunk
market.
of people. Yeah, that's a huge market. So strictly from a business perspective, it's not a mass product. It's not going to be like Mother Dairy ka chocolate wala doodh,
Yeah.
Because that is what dairy ka roots are so deep, like that it's such a deep rooted system now, especially since the white revolution. Everything in India revolves around dairy. You will not find one single place in the country where dairy.
You wake up and you sleep and it's there with you. Like that's
Yes.
ingrained in our culture now. So yeah.
Yes. So it's not a product that's going to replace that ecosystem. Definitely not. But it now acts as an alternative for people who are becoming aware of the dangers of the conventional dairy brands and the kind of adulteration that happens there, and the detrimental health effects that it can have if you do it for the long term.
Yeah.
So from a business perspective, it's an extremely viable option because right now nobody else is doing it the way that we are doing it.
Yeah, and I feel that if a consumer is socially aware and like he wants to actually make the switch, now you are giving them the option to do that. Like they did not have that option before, but now you're giving the option. Like if someone wants to make that switch, you can do it.
Yeah. So and the other thing is that we're trying to do is also make people more aware of this whole concept. So like it goes hand in hand because that awareness also needs to be built not just in order for the business to thrive, but also in order to people to realize, that there is an alternative in the market and there is something that you can do, and there is something like lactose intolerance that can happen. And maybe your child or you, if you have a discomfort or if you have irritation after you consume dairy, maybe it's because of that. So to bring about that awareness, like how people are now becoming aware of gluten intolerance, for example, even that is a very small chunk of the population, but people are becoming aware of it slowly and steadily. So that awareness is also a part of what we are, trying to do.
All right, that's great. I mean, and you're doing a great job at it, definitely. So my next question is, what was the biggest challenge that you faced when you were starting this company? Like apart from the, just the awareness that you had to create, what were some other challenges that you faced when you were just starting Nutty Kitchen?
Okay, so the two biggest challenges, one was of course capital, because this has been like I mentioned during our first phone call that we had, that this was like a completely self-funded venture. So me and my brother, we pooled up our savings, and then I quit my job, and that's how we pooled everything together, and we started off the first base of the Nutty Kitchen that's how we started, with like self-funding. And because it was self-funded, there was always restrictions on on the kind of equipment that you initially could invest in, and the kind of employees that you could initially invest in. Thankfully, it has picked up, and we've been able to expand to a place where it's now comfortable. And so the first challenge was capital for us, and the second challenge was zeroing in on this particular business idea, like actually honing and crafting this business idea, because it doesn't start out with what you initially do. So that's one thing that I've realized working on this. So initially we started out as a vegan smoothie based brand, and then our first store was Zomato. So we opened a store on Zomato and we were doing vegan smoothies and like different flavors. We now offer that on our website. Since closed the Zomato thing, it was not a very feasible option as it turned out. But then that's how we pivoted, and we turned to, doing nut milks and producing our own nut milk and completely doing this zone. And so I think those were the two of the biggest challenges starting out. But the thing is that there are so many small challenges that come up on a daily basis. That when somebody asks you what were the challenges, you just have to sit and think. That was okay. That was a year ago, and
was that a challenge?
Right now, you're working on. Sorry.
Like you think to yourself, like, is this a challenge? I have already overcome it. So
no, I don't think like this. So actually, no. When you're working on something, and when you're in the middle of a problem, let's say. So right now, I'm working on revamping the website. Okay, and the most basic challenge is like when you're doing like a self-design website is like understanding the technicalities, for example, right? So right now, when I'm in the middle of this, it doesn't matter. I've forgotten about the past challenge also. So right now, this is the focus and this is the challenge. So it's not like you're pondering over the fact that you've overcome a challenge or you're not going to face a challenge in the future. It's just like in the moment what is happening, and that's the most important thing right now. You do this and you move on to the next task. So I think that's how it works internally if you talk about the way that you think or something like that.
Definitely. And if I'm not wrong, your mom is also involved in the manufacturing process. So how does it?
So yes.
How does it feel when your parent is involved in something and they share the same level of vision that you have? Like, how does that make you feel?
Yeah, I cannot begin to express how grateful we are for the fact that our mom decided to help us through this. She was the one who initially, and I love my mom's cooking. She's always been like this great chef, and she cooks amazing food, and I'm not kidding. I'm not the only person who says this. So anybody who jo unke haath ka khana kha lete ek baar is like
repeat customers.
Yeah. So initially when we were testing out recipes, she was the one who was there, standing in the kitchen and figuring out the proportions and what of how much goes into what. And that's how I think we've been able to come up with these recipes, which are like we haven't gotten one single person to say that it's been it doesn't taste good.
Wow.
So every single review that we've gotten, like not all people review your products, they will not send back responses, that's all right, but every single review that we've gotten so far has been positive, especially in terms of the taste. So that's been like a big win for mom and for us also, because we spent, I don't know how much time we spent in the kitchen fine-tuning these recipes and figuring out the taste and everything.
But that must have been a really different kind of experience, right? Like just the process of getting there, like just finding out the perfect recipe, the process itself must be so much fun, isn't it?
Yeah, it was fun. It was frustrating at times. We had our round of fights also. So I think like it was a mixed bag, but it was a learning experience. Like we had never thought, never in the 28 years that I have been alive, and never in the 26 years that my brother has been alive, did we ever think that we'd start off with a food and beverage company. So it was definitely a learning experience, and it was fun. It was a lot of fun, definitely.
That's
awesome.
Yeah, that's amazing. And so moving on to the product back, you told me that your product has no preservatives, all right, which means that it has a smaller shelf life. So how does the logistics of this work out? And I think you told me when we first spoke that you're also buying a machine which would increase the shelf life exponentially of the product.
So that's something that we're looking at in the second round of expansion, not right now. Like that's an extremely expensive machine, and right now the funding is not appropriate for us to have that machine. That's the second round of expansion, like the machine that helps improve, like it's a type of packaging that removes oxygen from the product. So it basically because the air is removed, therefore bacteria cannot multiply, and therefore the shelf life is increased without adding any sort of preservative. So that's what we're looking at in the second round of our expansion. Right now, as we go retail, because right now we're focusing only in the Delhi market, so we're planning to go retail in a way that our products get picked up in the first 24 to 48 hours from wherever retail stores that we place them in. Till now, we've been following the direct delivery method, which is somebody places an order and we create a particular batch for them and then directly deliver it to them. So that's how the shelf life logistics have been working out right now, because we've been a direct delivery platform so far. So it's all customized, it's all 100% order based. So that's why it's like logistics hasn't been an issue so far, because we've been building up our customer base. And when you start out, you don't have a huge exponential base as such. So we've been able to cater to customers, to their specific needs, and create products just surrounding when they want the delivery and that kind of thing.
Very customer centric right now. It's like very
Very
customer focused. Yeah, that's great. I mean, and so we Mumbaikars and all the other people are missing out. I mean, I also told you this when we were first talking. When do the Mumbaikars get a piece of the action? Because I want to try it out. Because when I saw your product on Instagram, I was like, मेरे को ये यार, I have to try this out. So when can we, get a piece of the action?
Oh man, I wish, yeah. So Bombay has been one of the places that we were looking at. Like when we first started also, so Bombay has been always on the radar. But again, like it all depends on how this leg of the expansion goes and how well the retail pickup goes. So once that's settled, then we'll move on to, going to another city and setting up. Yeah, it all depends on how the retail launch now goes. Like how we are able to set it up successfully over a couple of months, and then that's when you look at expansion in other cities.
So basically, I have to come to Delhi then to try out. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, or if I come to Bombay, I'll get like stock for you.
Right. That works. That works as well. All right. So my last question to you is 5 or 10 years down the line, like if you were to just, paint a picture for us, what is the vision for Nutty Kitchen? What do you want to achieve with Nutty Kitchen? And, what are some milestones that you see yourself getting in the future?
So in the next 5 to 10 years, we both want Nutty Kitchen to be like a pan-India brand and like synonymous with vegan beverages in India. So that's what our aim is in the 5 to 10 years to come. And that's the direction that we're working on also. And the thing that we want to keep doing is, one, keep it a customer-centric brand. And second is to stay true to the value of the product, which is all natural, no preservatives, no additives, no chemicals. And I think going forward, that is going to be imperative as well, considering the rate at which the adulteration in the food industry is multiplying, expanding. It becomes more and more important to have food that is, free of all of this adulteration, of all of these chemicals that we consume on a daily basis. So that's what we want to keep doing. And we want to expand it to a place where, people across the country are able to have access to this product and have at least one thing in their lives, which is, completely natural, completely healthy. So that's the plan for now.
That's great. And I really hope that you guys achieve your vision, because, I'm a bit selfish here because I want the product in Mumbai. So I hope that you guys grow at such a breakneck speed that, in the next 6 months or 1 year, your product comes all over India. So that, guys over here in Bombay can try it out. And I'll just,
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
I had a great time talking to you. Thank you for coming on the show, and, wish you all the best with the Nutty Kitchen and everything that you're doing. Wish you all the best.
Thank you so much, Siddharth. It was lovely talking to you as well. Thank you for having me. I had a blast, and I hope whatever you're doing, I hope your podcast grows leaps and bounds and you have amazing people coming on to the show. And I can't wait to listen to this one and the next one that you have lined up.
Definitely. Thanks, Aditi. All right, guys, that does it for today's edition of Vyapar. If you're living in Delhi NCR and if you want to try out, something different, something really unique, I'll tell you what, try out the Nutty Kitchen. It's in NCR. You're a lucky person, so don't miss out. And let me know what you think of the show, because we do this for you guys. I want to make this the best listening experience for you guys. So let us know what you think of the show. You can reach out to us at vyaparpodcast@gmail.com. Take care, and we'll see you next week.